So, the new idea for the Premier League, this new incredible, innovative thought process that's being put forward by the Glazers of United and the Fenway Sports Group, the people who own Liverpool. This great new plan is being called Project Big Picture. Now, I'm going to rename it. It's called Project Big Bitch. Alright, United and Liverpool, I don't know what they're trying to do behind the scenes here. This seems like some type of collusion that's been going on between the two of them to try and get this whole situation pushed through. And the pandemic and what's going on with the coronavirus right now seems to have just given them a bit more fire and said we can actually push what we want to do through now. American, stupid. Not because you're American, but because you're American and you're also stupid. And I really don't know why that is, okay? I know Americans have great sports of their own. They really do certain things. I don't follow a lot of it, but it seems like these guys at the top of English football sort of want to Americanize the Premier League, and I'm not here for it, and I'm not having it. I'm just not having it. But hey, NarendraTheComic here, and we are indeed going to be talking about these new proposed changes to the Premier League, the English Football League system, and countless other things, some of which I actually agree with, but most of which I think is very, very stupid and very, very bad ideas, and could only come from someone who doesn't really understand the sport, even though I think what they're trying to do in some ways is positive. But really, when you look just a tad deeper, it seems like there's some power play going on here, and I think certain individuals want to have a bit more power than everyone else, and I'm not sure I'm loving it. Start off with, I will say, the two good things potentially out of this, and then everything else after that is probably bad. The good things. Number one, potentially getting rid of the Football League Cup. Now, if you really think about the League Cup, it is a competition which has been drowning in its own squalor for about 10 years. Most people haven't cared about it very much for at least a decade. When you look at the big clubs, they haven't really cared about it for about 2 decades now. But, you know, for lower league clubs, it still does mean something. So the idea that the League Cup could be scrapped, I don't think that is potentially good. But I do think the idea of either all Premier League teams not being involved in the League Cup could be good. Or on the other hand, it could be those teams outside of the top 6. So the top 6 teams who do get European football don't compete in the League Cup, and the other Premier League clubs do. You could also do it maybe so the bottom 10 teams do play in the Football League Cup and the top 10 teams don't, depending on season by season basis. I think that reform to the Football League Cup is maybe a good thing. I don't know if cancelling it outright would be the best thing, but now that the winner of that competition gets a great place in the Europa Conference League, it just means that no Premier League side is going to want to be winning that. And honestly, I believe that if that position gets pushed down to a 7th place team in the Premier League, people will be trying to not go for that. Teams and management will be saying, let's try and get 8th or 9th. We don't want to get 7th. Because if 7th means we're going to get Europa Conference League, we don't want that, boys. We don't want that anymore. And I will give UEFA some praise. The best thing they did in decades was giving the Europa League winner a Champions League spot. That just opened that competition up. It made it way more competitive. People actually wanted to win it because of the potential of getting into the Champions League next year. So that's a good thing. Europa Conference League, one of the stupidest ideas ever. You know, UEFA give and take, right? They give incredible intelligence sometimes, good ideas, and then they have supreme stupidity. I guess it's sort of like these new American owners. Seems like it. On another positive and negative note, we have, you know, this new concept of all Premier League revenues being diced up, essentially. 25% of all Premier League revenues going to the Football League system, so that Championship clubs, League 1, League 2 can all get some of the benefits of the success of the Premier League, which in theory is not a terrible thing, but I think it's sort of like you're not teaching a man to fish, you're giving him the fish, right? And that's not really ever a good thing. That's not normally a good thing. So if the structure can't succeed on its own, you know, take away this pandemic time right now, if it can't succeed on its own, then it's not worthy of being there. That's generally how it works. And if the Football League can't succeed in the model it is right now, then maybe they need to find new ways of structuring themselves so that it can be. But I don't know if this is the best option. It's a option to help right now in this moment. And apparently there's $250 million or pounds. I'm not sure exactly what the currency is that's being thrown about here. That is being used as a relief fund essentially for all non-Premier League sides who need aid right now, which in the times we're in is a good thing. So those are the two good things. And even then they're questionable. Now we get to the bad things. Number one, small one, Community Shield. They're planning on scrapping it. I don't know why you'd scrap it. It's one game it's a pre-season friendly, which gives you a minor trophy. In some ways, it sort of signifies the beginning of the new season and the end of the last one. So I'm not sure why you would want to scrap such an integral part of British football in the Community Shield. Not that it's the most exciting game ever, not that it throws up results that are normally shocking, but the point of that game is so the FA Cup winner can meet with the Premier League winner. What if the FA Cup winner is someone in the Championship and they get to play Man City at Wembley? That's a big thing. For a Premier League side, that might not mean a lot, but for a Championship or League One side who managed to get to that level of success in the FA Cup, that's huge. So I would not be taking that away. I think that's a very, very bad idea. Now we get to the big bad, the very big bad, the awful bad. This is why these guys might actually be demons. So these guys are proposing that the Premier League gets cut down to 18 teams. Maybe the worst idea of all this stuff is that. Why would you do that? I understand in one way, and that is fixture congestion, and that has been shown this season specifically. And that's why a lot of the bigger teams will say this year, guys, we're going to get a lot of injuries, we're going to have a lot of structural problems if we're playing at the rate we are. So from that regard, I understand and I respect it. But I think there's more nefarious things going on here, and I think it's solely for power grabs, and I think that that will ultimately be the demise of what is the best league in the world, the most entertaining league in the world, and the league which gives everyone the most pleasure watching, because anyone can beat anyone. And with these changes, I think we're starting to see the shift of that element of the Premier League just being decayed bit by bit. So with 18 clubs, the season would be reduced, but it's not just that. In that first season where this change happens, we'd start with 20 teams and we'd end with 18 come the next season. 3 teams are going to get relegated in that first season straight away. And then you're going to have a playoff system, essentially, with the people who finish 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the Championship, with the 16th place team in the Premier League competing for that last space in the Premier League. But if there are 18 teams in the Premier League, I don't think there should be 3 relegations at the same time. There should be 2 relegations if there's 18 teams, because it's just going to mean there's so many teams popping up and down all the time. Clubs won't be able to get a foothold in the Premier League. Parachute payments are going to stop. And I think that can cause more problems for smaller teams in the Premier League, coming up, then going down, then coming up, then going down. Entire structures can be messed up. And I think that's something for a club which is almost irredeemable when you get it wrong. You see some clubs which were on a good path and then they overspent on transfers or they overspent on wages, then they got relegated, and now they're floundering in whether it's League One or the Championship, and they haven't been able to get back to the Premier League. And I think that's a very, very bad thing. It's not how you should run a business, but then there should be aid in that way, financial aid and a support in terms of literacy, not in terms of money, to be able to understand what you should do and when you should do it. And I'm not sure that 3 relegations in an 18-team league is maybe the best idea. And last but not least, we also have this new shifting of power dynamics, which is the concept of there being stalwart teams almost. It's an idea that actually got put forward by some of the biggest clubs in Europe for a new European Championship, saying piss off to the Champions League, we'll create our own Super League, and the Champions League and UEFA can piss off, basically. The idea of having teams who are constantly there, it's not about relegation, promotion, it's just about them being involved in the competition, and they get paid, they get the money, they get the revenues and all that. It seems like that's what these guys are vying for here. They're saying that the big 6 teams have more of a sway than the other teams in the league. And they're not even going there. They're trying to just get more people on board by saying that we have historical teams as well. So there's the big 6, United, City. It's weird saying big 6. It used to be big 4, but now big 6. United, City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool. Then you also have Everton, because they've never been out of the Premier League. You have Southampton, and I think West Ham was the other club. Those 9 teams being involved in the Premier League and having a weighted role in the voting process as to what rules get put forward in the Premier League going forward. And I think that's a terrible idea. I way prefer the 1 vote per club rule. I think maybe to get 14 out of 20 clubs to agree to something might be too much. Maybe if that number got reduced to 12, these types of problems wouldn't be happening and these guys wouldn't be trying to do this. So I think maybe changing the system around a little bit, as opposed to a mass overhaul in this regard, is better. Remove the 14 teams having to agree to a new solution or a new idea and change that to 12 or 13. I think this whole thing can maybe go away and we can get away from this weird money-hungry, power-hungry grab in the Premier League at the upper levels, because I think it would just cause more division in the Premier League and even in the league system overall. It will cause even more disparity between the teams who have money and the teams who don't, the teams who are investing a lot and the teams who don't. And I think that we need to really take a stance here. I don't know how to get through to this. I don't know what the situation is, but we cannot let this type of shit happen to the Premier League. We see what's going on with American sports. It's going down the dustpan, I'll be honest, some of it. And I don't want that going on in the Premier League. I think I may have tuckered myself out a little bit there. I feel like I've ranted enough and I can move on with my day. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there. If you didn't, then I don't know, man. I don't know, you don't want the Premier League to be great, all right? Who doesn't want the Premier League to be great? We don't want to be in a stage where we're saying, let's make the Premier League great again. We want to say, let's keep the Premier League great. Let's keep it good. Let's keep it groovy. Let's get the gravy train keep on moving. Let's keep it going. The cogs turning. We don't want that situation to be happening. So, you know, it's good. It's good if the Premier League is good. And that only happens if you subscribe, you know? It all comes round full circle. So subscribe. That would be very, very nice. Anyway, I've been NarendraTheComic. You've been great, and I'll see you next time. That's tomorrow. If you don't know, make a video every single day. I've been doing it for over 2 years now, and we ain't stopping till we get to 10,000 subscribers. So do subscribe, as I say. Pop back again tomorrow for some more quality shitty content, because we're hashtag never not here. Nope. Boys, lads, my guys, it's just how it goes. There's a video every day. You don't know what you're going to get, but there's something. And hopefully, you'll like some of it. But this is just how it goes. Sometimes people don't like something. Sometimes people like other things. The thing is, just by sheer probability, you're probably going to like something eventually. So you might as well just subscribe. Yeah, cool. See you tomorrow. I will indeed be here with some more bakwas. And if you don't know, bakwas is nonsense in Punjabi. And I always bring the bakwas. See you tomorrow. Skadoosh.